Guess who's back? Back again. Chargers back. Tell a friend. The bye week is done, and thank God, because I need me some Chargers football this weekend. I need to be pulling my hair out. Otherwise, it's not quite the same. Tony Tucker, how have you been, man?
Is that what you think Eminem sounds like in your
Yes,
head?
again. I don't listen to music, Tony. You know this.
Oh man, I'm doing great. I'm extremely pumped for football to be back on Monday night against the Cowboys, and just tremendous opportunities. Teams getting healthy. I'm sure we'll talk about all this fun stuff. But as I've texted to you and to David, that I'm feeling really good and optimistic about everything Chargers related.
Same, especially with the team getting healthy following that bye week, Tony. You see Alex in here. What's up, Alex? Bolts up, FTR. But before we talk about the bye week, Chargers getting a little bit healthier, I need to know your thoughts on the Raider game. It's so long ago, but try and just grab a few from the back of the mind there, Tony. Let me know what your thoughts were on the Charger performance against the Raiders.
First half, like, couldn't have gone any better in my mind. You know, like maybe they could have had 28 points instead of 24 points or whatever it was. But I think just like the second half was a little weird and wonky again, and that's been a concern in past, seasons and things like that. So that was a little like, hey, what's going on here? Then Herbert has the finger injury, but just like the stud that he is like, hey, give me some duct tape and a Nike glove from Donald Parham. It was like, it looked way too big. His hand just looked awkward. And he went out and he dropped a dime to my guy Palmer, which was fantastic to see him do that. I was bummed because since I am such a Palmer fan and defender and realize how good of a player he is and will be, that when I defend him or say that he is a above quality, he's a good, lots of potential wide receiver, I get so many messages when something bad happens. So when Jacorian Bennett makes that play on the sideline to Palmer in the second half, where he's like wide open, and Bennett made a nice play and just hit him on the arm. Like, it's a good defensive play. Do we wish that he would have been able to squeeze it and come down with it and have a nice 30-yard gain? For fantasy, definitely. For Chargers, 1,000%. I wanted that to be complete. But I wish my friends and family would stop messaging me to let me know when he does something bad, because my phone is crickets when he hits the 50-yarder to end the game. No one reaches out and goes, man, that was a nice move for him to get open and beat a guy who has 4.2 speed down the field. Like, Jacorian Bennett can run, and he smoked him.
Twice. So, I mean, it was impressive to see with JB5 there. I was sweating with everyone that was sweating on that because I had the Josh Palmer over in that game, and I pretty much assumed it was a lock. I believe it was like 45 yards, and I was like, you are disrespecting him, setting it at this number, and he didn't hit it until that final bomb. It had me sweating.
Yeah, he would have if it on the drop wouldn't happen. And I think just like other stuff about the Raiders game, like, it was one of those things where it did get close, but I didn't ever really worry. Like, I think that one of the things when I talk to, especially my family, is like, there's like straight up panic whenever things start to go south. And I would like for that to go away, but I just think that's kind of like built into Chargers fans in general. But it's still, to me, even with Herbert on the sideline, I was a little scared for Herbert there when he was in the medical tent. But like, the defense is playing a lot better. Improvements, right? We talked about this. Points are going down each week, and pressures are going up, and they're playing more cohesive and all that fun stuff. And I even joked and said they're improving. The week before, they went for it on their 24 and they got stuffed. Now they went for it on their 34 and got stuffed. So maybe next week, maybe this week against the Cowboys, we go for it on the 44 and we get it. Like, let's be optimistic about what could happen.
At least it's a longer field goal if he gets stuffed again. So
I'm saying it'll still be on the Chargers 44. Like, he's still gonna go for it in Charger territory at some point in the game. He's Staley.
I mean, I feel like they hired him and they told him, like, go ahead, man. Just let it loose. Do whatever the fuck you want. This is Chargers football. It's supposed to be electric. It's supposed to be heartbreaking and thrilling at the same time. Yeah, it was a fun game to watch. I watched the game there in person, and the one thing that I noticed most, I noticed in other games, but for some reason in this game, it was just more highlighted because I was there in person. Herbert looks way more agile than he ever has looked in his career. Even his rookie year, I think he ran for like 400 yards his rookie year, so he ran a lot more than he has the last couple of years. And maybe it's because last year he was almost immobile with all those injuries. And by the way, I got a lot of texts too, Tony, from Raiders fans like, wow, you guys are up by whatever, and you're still keeping Herbert in even though he's hurt. And I was like, you think a pinky finger is going to stop this man? The dude played with cracked ribs and played well with cracked ribs. Let's not act like this finger injury is going to keep him off the field. Maybe he won't be able to stiff arm 300-pound men anymore. But isn't that a bonus to everything that Herbert already does? But this guy is playing at an unreal level. And I have never seen a Chargers quarterback in my lifetime, at least, and that's no shade to Phillip Rivers, that can do some of the things that Herbert was doing out there, like juking out Max Crosby in open field.
Oh, yeah. There's been a couple of those moments where he's just, like, smoking people, and I'm like, is he trying to make, like, an and one mixtape for NFL? Like, this is fantastic.
Oh, man. All right. Let's focus our attention from last week to this week. The Chargers have a challenge of hosting them boys, Dallas Cowboys, coming to LA. The last couple of Chargers-Cowboys games have been a lot of fun. Chargers fans probably remember that's one of Keenan Allen's iconic or vintage highlights that come up in most of his reels is that big play he had against Dallas. He caught the ball up the sideline, split two Dallas DBs. They collided into each other, and then he just walked into the end zone. And, of course, the last time we played the Cowboys was that infamous penalty on the goal line where it was like, what? What was that call? And then didn't they call Herbert for a sack even though he got rid of the ball while being tackled? Like, the refs basically screwed the ending of it. But both games were a ton of fun to watch.
Oh, not the refs. Tony Correnti is his name. And I remember on the show, I lost my mind because there was a couple of illegal motion calls in there. And I guess, like, they're still trying to put some stuff in there. What's going on, DZ?
Yeah, DZ. I'm not saying we're dismissing the Cowboys by any means. We're going to talk about our keys to victory, our bold predictions, everything. Here in a minute.
And they gave Micah Parsons credit for that sack when Herbert was still standing up because
while being speared.
Yeah, like it was a little frustrating.
And is unbelievable, man. He is unbelievable, and I can't wait to watch the rest of his career as a Chargers fan. Let's get into next week, Tony, starting with the weather report. Sorry, David is not here today. Shout out to David. Hope you're having a great night. He couldn't make it to tonight's show, but he'll be back next week. 77 degrees, Tony.
Beautiful.
0% precipitation. Precipitation? Did I say that right?
You're saying too much. What do the kids say?
Precipitation.
Say less.
I didn't go to fucking college.
Let's go. Move on. Precipitation. You nailed it.
4 miles per hour of wind. So weather's going to be great. On to the injury report here. And this is where things get pretty dicey. Okay, Tony, try and take just a guess. Cowboys and Chargers injury report combined. How many players do you think is on this thing?
Just from what I have heard, it's probably like 12 from just the Cowboys.
Yeah. And we got our own set of 10. So let's start this here. Joey Bosa. We got a toe injury with Joey now. I thought it was a hamstring injury, Tony. What the fuck is this toe injury?
I don't know what it is. But it's not good.
He had a hamstring, and now the hamstring is removed from the injury report. Now it just says toe. Did not practice Thursday. Did not practice Friday. Keep in mind, Joey Bosa has been a player multiple times in his career. Basically, every time he gets hurt, he doesn't practice all week, and then he plays in the game still. So I still have hope that Joey's going to play. His game status, that everything's unspecified as of right now. They're probably going to release that tomorrow. But not practicing both practices this week is not a great sign for us. But on the bright side, Tony, Austin Eckler's still listed on here with an ankle injury. Full practice Thursday, full practice Friday. We're going to see 30 back in the end zone in the first quarter of this game. Alohi Gilman, our safety, has been dealing with a heel injury for the last couple of weeks, and our depth safeties and practice squad safeties have filled in very nicely for the guys that we needed them to. He's not practiced all week either. So we'll see what happens with him. Justin Herbert with the left finger injury, the middle finger. I think he fractured it and messed up his nail. Full practice. No worries with Herbert. He's going to play. Derwin James, hamstring, full practice, both days, Tony. Probably going to see 3 back out there as well. Dean Leonard, he returned to practice on Thursday and then did not practice today. He's dealing with a hammy. That's not a good sign. Donald Parham, who had the wrist injury in the last game, he was a limited practice and then a full practice, so he's looking good. Trey Pipkins dealing with a shoulder, full practice, full practice. That's what we like to see. Rashawn Slater's listed on here with an ankle, full practice, full practice. That's what we like to see. Nick Williams, who's been a guy that we've needed in spots, he's dealing with a back injury. No practice Thursday, no practice Friday, so we'll see what happens with him. The biggest one is Joey Bosa, Tony, and I don't know if he's going to play or not. I hope he does through this toe injury. Or not, if that'll keep him healthy. All right, now let's go to the Cowboys. Cowboys, I'm just going to list guys that didn't practice, right? So, like Baidaz, all these guys on here, they all practice. They're good to go. But Damon Clark, one of their linebackers, and they are very thin at that position right now. He's dealing with the shoulder. He was a light practice both days. Gallimore, I don't even know who that is. It's very rare that I don't know who someone is in the NFL. I pretty much know every depth chart from top to bottom. Do you know who Neville Gallimore is?
No.
Skip. CJ Goodwin, cornerback. They're also thin at that position. He's dealing with a pec. No practice for him this week. We'll see what happens to him. Jonathan Hankins, who's one of their depth D tackles. He plays a lot, actually, in spots. No practice for him this week with an illness. Malik Hooker, dealing with a shoulder. Limited practice, both practices. Tony Pollard was limited early in the week, but he practiced in full, so he's probably good. Tyron Smith has rest.
Was the first name you said? Are you talking about Biotish, the center? He practiced.
He's good. Yeah, he practiced both practices.
Okay.
Yeah, he's their center.
So from the injury report, I think that the 2 names that are jumping out to me are maybe not names that everybody's familiar with, but Hankins, the D tackle, and Williams, the D tackle, because both of these, the Chargers need to reestablish the run in this game, and I think we'll get more into that in a second. But also, like, Hankins has been fantastic for them playing in there. Like, he's been, when I'm out there, when I'm watching, he's playing more snaps than Mozzie. So I wouldn't consider Hankins a depth guy. He seems to be the guy that they have in there. And Nick Williams, whenever I'm watching on the runs up the middle, like, he's really good at staying square. Like, he's in there, and it's having, like, 2 guys are going to have to get in there and turn him. Like, he seems to be playing really solid football, and that is a strength of the Cowboys. And according to Mike McCarthy, he wants to just run the football and win every game 3-0. So he's all about
this one 3-0.
He's all about trying to, run the ball, run the ball at the gut behind Tyler Smith. So
yeah, and then the other notable name on this list is Leighton Vander Esch, who's dealing with the neck and concussion. Did not practice both days. I think he's pretty much like doubtful.
Yeah, I think he's going to end up on IR. He's had a series of really bad neck problems, and so that needs to be evaluated seriously.
A long list of banged up players in this one. Thankfully, one of these teams coming off a bye, Tony. One of them's not.
Yeah, and one of them is coming off like the most brutal team to play.
Right. 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26 total players. 2 teams combined on the injury report this week. Let's see what these guys are saying in the chat.
Yeah, DZ, I've never seen him in here before, but this bottom comment here cracks me up. I do want to talk about Dean Marlowe a little bit because since we didn't do like a full thoughts on that game, he was somebody that really stood out to me. And I would like to see him playing, especially in this game, if it's a team that's going to run the ball a lot. Like JT Woods, take the week off, be fine. Or maybe you use him on special teams. If Dean Leonard can't play, like maybe Woods is active and he's playing gunner or something like that. But Dean Marlowe was somebody that I was watching. I was like, oh, I feel a lot more comfortable, like as a fan, with him on the field. And if him and Gilman and DJ could be out there as like a 3 safety rotation, maybe even a little more Raheem Lane. Like you saw the video. Like I was asking for them to draft JT Woods in that 3rd round. Like it was like between him and McCollum. There was a couple DBs where I was like, I want this guy. I really want Woods to work out. But it also, like, sometimes I'm just filled with anxiety when I know that the run is headed to his side of the field.
Yeah, and Marlowe and Lane have been very steady as tacklers and have been helping out, coming downhill and getting involved in the rush defense when they have gotten on the field. Yeah, I'm hoping to see Marlowe play a lot again in this game, especially because of the Lohi Gilman injury. I don't know if he's going to play or not. We'd like to see Dean fill in there. I'm excited with the depth of our secondary because we lost J.C. Jackson, obviously. We haven't even talked about that at all. Do we even need to talk about that too much? Not really. But like they just traded J.C. Jackson, and I think they have full confidence in the group that we have left without J.C.
No, I got a training camp poster that had 3 DBs on it.
No,
now the poster only has 2 DBs on it.
They didn't even give JC his number back in New England either. They made him wear some off-brand number.
Yeah, no, I tried to. I told you earlier. I tried to watch that game. I fell asleep. Man, the Patriots got waxed.
Josh Norman's like, "Welcome to the club, buddy." Come on, we're wearing 36 next week. Bosa's grandfather was a mobster, and Joey essentially has been robbing the Chargers organization for a hot minute. Man, it's just been rough with Bosa's injuries. I hate to bag on a guy for being injured a lot, but goddamn, 97 is injured a lot.
Yeah, it's unfortunate too because you can see how much work he puts in, like how obsessed he is. For him to have friendships or relationships or whoever, like they must just get neglected pretty much year round because they talk about how he works out and just the routine that he goes through on a daily basis and the amount of things he does to try to keep his body like healthy and to play. It's unfortunate. So I want him out there.
Unfortunately, there's been a lot of players throughout NFL history that we've known that have had the talent level, everything. And it's just can't stay healthy, can't get it right.
It's a brutal,
it's a brutal sport, like you're saying. Yeah. All right, let's get into talking about our keys to victory, Tony. What do you think your key to victory is here against Dallas on Monday night?
My key to victory is win the coin toss and go out there and have a long established first drive where the run comes back and you just lean these big offensive linemen on them and you really go out and just smack them in the mouth right away. Like fully take all the hype out of the stadium because unfortunately there's going to be a lot of Cowboys fans in SoFi. Like there's just nothing you can do about it. There's so many Cowboys fans out here. You see the Oxnard when they're all up there for your training camp and stuff like that. SoFi's going to have a lot of take the fans out, take the will out of them. Like whoever left is healthy, just start finding ways to like get Zion Johnson to the second level to some linebacker that's like trying to gut out a performance and he's just getting smashed in the first place. Like I'm talking like a nice 11 to 15 play drive with like 7 to 8, 10 runs on it where you just have Kelly and Eckler just cramming forward on the first drive of the game. To where you're like really just kind of setting that mindset where it's like, okay, we just took 7.5 minutes and it's going to be another long day of a team that's going to physically whip you 2 weeks in a row. Because then you can come back and you get Herbert. You're gonna get. It's like, oh, we gotta commit more resources to the run. We gotta make an adjustment to do this. Well, guess what? Now we're getting one-on-ones more often and stuff like that. Like, I hope that they don't let him off the hook easy and Kellen Moore comes out and tries to be like, oh, look at all these things I can do with Justin Herbert. And then it's a little wonky and it's like a 3 and out. And now the crowd's really crazy and the Cowboys are getting energized. Like, you get Austin Eckler back, the first drive of the game should be, oh yeah, remember what we did last time he was on the field in Miami? Buckle up because you guys are getting this shit rammed down your throat again. taking the ball at Micah Parsons and just having somebody on the first drive try and walk him all the way to the 50. Like, just smash him in the mouth.
Send Sawyer his way. I think Sawyer's got that dog in him to lay out Micah Parsons.
Beautiful.
But yeah, that was gonna be mine too, Tony. I was gonna say start fast, suck the energy out of the crowd, like you're saying. But like D's is saying here, DZ, the Cowboys might be going into this game thinking we gotta make a statement, we gotta prove something. Let's knock that confidence out of their mouth and out of their heads right away. And whatever way that the Chargers find a way to do that, let's make some big plays early in this game. That was something I was going to say is a key. Another key for me is keep feeding 13 because it's going to start to open up everything else. If the Cowboys can't stop Keenan Allen and they start triple and double teaming and shifting their coverage all over to Allen, we're going to get a big play out of Q1 in this game. We're going to get something down the field in the third quarter after they've been feeding 5 and 13 the entire game. So that's my two keys. I completely agree with you, Tony. I agree with D's here. We need to knock that energy out of this Dallas team, whatever energy they're coming into this game with. Something that also is key for me is to continue the good run defense. Because if you force Dak to throw the ball 35, 40 times in this game, not typically a Dak hater, but I think it's going to work out for the Chargers defense in the long run of the game, and they're going to be able to have a chance to make some plays on some balls. CeeDee Lamb has been kind of called out this last week by some of the pundits and analysts and all that stuff. He's in his head. Because he is like tweeting and trying to go back at him. Like, it is bothering him that he's not putting up the numbers this year that we all expected already.
Well, he had a closed door meeting with McCarthy where he was saying, like, dude, I need the rock. Like, what's going on here? Like, I get that you want to do stuff, but I'm trying to get paid. I am the best player on this offense. Like, him or Tony Pollard, like, why am I only getting 5 targets in a game that we have been waiting to play since we got eliminated by this team, and you guys are only designing that for me? And I think that's kind of the issue is, like, when you watch the Cowboys games, and this is illustrated really great, the why do I always forget? The Guilty as Charged guys talked about this, and they said watching the Cowboys is like watching Lombardi's offense last year, and it really is. Like, I'm sure whoever watches this channel probably watches them too. The illustration that they paint about what that offense is like is no joke. Because I've watched every Cowboys game this year, and it is brutal. It's like you have Brandon Cooks on your team and CD and Michael Gallup, and this is what you're putting out there? Like, in my estimation, I'm like, okay, if the Brandon Staley defense is the idea is we're going to keep everything in front of us and not give up any big plays, they're doing half the work for you. They're not even looking to get the ball downfield. So then, if that's the case, the other key that I would have said to victory is, like, this is the game where I really think that the acquisition of EK can be huge, right? Where it comes in and he might have had double-digit tackles last week. I'm not a big box score stats guy, but he needs to have one of those games where it's like some TFLs and he's getting in the backfield and causing problems. And then Kenneth Murray just continues to elevate his play, which he's done this year. Like, I think he's been playing outstanding, might be a reach, but like pretty close. And he's had moments of outstanding.
He's had multiple career games in this season already. I will say that for sure. We've had our spots. We've watched the tape back and been like, oh, where are you going on that one, K9? But for the most part, especially in the big moments of the game, he's played a lot better than in previous years. Eric Kendricks must be helping the dude pick up the speed of this defense. You've got to be quick on your reads at linebacker when the field is so spread out the way Staley likes to do it with all these DBs on the field. This is a good point by DZ because the Cowboys also said that they're going to be shifting Micah Parsons off the ball again, play some middle linebacker and some inside linebacker, just simply because they're ravaged with injuries at that position. This is what I think the Chargers are probably also keying in on. Can we get some guys over the middle? Keeping in mind also that both of their safeties are banged up. Can we get some work over the middle of the field on a guy in Micah Parsons that's not typically used to just dropping back in coverage all the time? And that's not really his strength.
This is he's kind of on my bold take for this, so I'll save it. But yes, you will see I'm fully endorsing the idea of Everett and using the middle of the field. So
I say you fired out there, Tony. We gave our keys. Go ahead. Give your hot take. Give your bold take.
here's my bold take that this is the tight ends game, right? I think that although
Can I answer this? It's Joe.
you just mute it and I'll talk. Here, I think I can mute you. There, you're muted. I don't know.
Nuts and bolts. Live on Nuts and Bolts. We need your score prediction for Cowboys Chargers.
Oh, shit. Put me on the spot.
You called.
Let's go Chargers 30.
You like it?
7.
Hey, a two possession victory predicted by a Raiders fan. Speaking of which, if you guys want to see something entertaining, try and line up the date that me and Joe go to Oxnard next year. Seeing him in that crowd of Cowboys fans is hilarious. Joe, I'll call you back right after the show.
All right, I'll turn the show on.
All right.
And that's what we need, a Raiders fan in the chat. Everybody who's in there, make sure you flame him when he jumps in.
One of the hottest TikTokers on the internet right now. So look at that.
There he is, at the Joe Morley, hashtag poop emoji. This game, I think the middle of the field is where the attack needs to be. And that's why I really liked what DZ said there. If the idea is that Micah's going to maybe move back in there and try and do that, Van Der Esch is out. I think there's some safety hobbling there. Parham is back and healthy. And we really need to see them getting the ball to Everett a little bit more. Like they're doing a lot of getting him the ball wide in space. I'd like to see him getting the ball vertically a little bit more, because if he can catch the ball on the run like that, trying to tackle this man is like ridiculous. He threw that pass last week to Everett. Everett caught the ball, and that guy had to mess his shoulder up when he hit Everett on that one play. And Everett got up and was like, "That's all you got?" Every week he does that. So I think vertically there. Also with this bold take, let's include this. Former Old Dominion quarterback playing tight end for the Chargers, Stone Smart, throws a touchdown pass. There's a hot take in this. They run a similar play with him where he goes in motion and he tosses a touchdown pass in this game. So I think it's just a big week for the tight ends. I'm thinking double-digit receptions, over 100 yards, and multiple touchdowns in the tight ends for this in this game really, really flourish and shine.
That would be awesome.
Stone Smart, tight end.
A touchdown pass. I would be so hyped if he threw a touchdown pass. I like it, though. I do think that is a weakness in the Cowboys' defense that other teams have been attacking. The Chargers should attack the middle of the field as well in this game. My bold prediction, Tony, is that we got a pissed off 3 in this one. He's had to wait 3 weeks now since the last time he played, including the bye week. He comes out, has a sack, interception, and forced fumble in this game and just goes nuts. And we see our first, Derwin takeover game of the season. Derwin's been playing just fine. He's made a couple plays on the ball. There was that one hit that was, right on the fence of a dirty hit or not. But he hasn't had, a takeover game like we saw in Vegas a couple years ago with that pick in front of Darren Waller, or like we saw mostly Raider games. He just goes nuts in. But, that Colts game they got kicked out of, that whole half, he just was dominating everybody in that game. So I think we get our first Derwin takeover game of the year. Where is it going to be? Collinsworth probably on the call is saying this is a guy that the Chargers paid for this reason.
Yeah, and this is a perfect game for like a perfect opportunity because of the way Dak's been playing, right? They're asking Dak to just be this pocket quarterback and drop back and get the ball out. And if they can pick up on a tendency that they saw in film or something, Dak's been having this really uncomfortable trend when you watch him of staring down his receiver. And as you're watching it as a fan, you're like, dude, are you even going to look at the other side of the field? Or are you just like, this ball has to go to CD or has to go to Ferguson or whatever? It's like, dude, come on, work around. In this game, I hope that he continues that trend because Asante or DJ and Eric Kendricks. Another thing from the Raiders game that was a really beautiful thing that I think we miss a little bit from Tranquil is the ability for him to understand sometimes when you're at linebacker, like you might have to drop to an uncomfortable space. And I think sometimes Kenneth isn't comfortable dropping back 15, 20 yards downfield. And Eric Kendricks had some really nice drops that I think made it uncomfortable for Aiden O'Connell. And I think he could do the same thing in this game to Dak, where you're just not expecting all of a sudden Eric Kendricks to be 20 yards down the middle of the field and you're trying to throw a crosser and EK gets his hands on one.
I'm here for that too. Yeah, Eric Kendricks, throwing James Asante. Maybe you give us a little Mikey Davis. Someone get a pick. A pick six, preferably. That'll be a ton of fun if we could get that going. What was I going to say? I had something else.
I don't know.
Right there live on the air. But score prediction, Tony. Joe won 30-17. What are you thinking? I'll try and get my thought back while you're speaking.
Do that. So I've been going back and forth, and I do think that this is still a very good Cowboys team, and I don't think the Chargers are operating at a level of the 49ers. So, well, my heart says that it's 31-20, Chargers win. I think it's a little bit closer, but maybe at a certain point in the game, it's Chargers, 27-17, and we're feeling really good. But it ends up being a Chargers victory, 27-24. Chargers get the win. Monday is a lot of fun for us, but also, like, if you like to listen to sports talk and whatever, just understand that if the Chargers win this game, it's all of the conversation is going to be about what are the Cowboys going to do? Dak should be benched. Jerry's on a warpath. We're not going to get to hear any fun stuff about the Chargers until like Wednesday when they start gearing up for week 7. We won't get to hear any fun stuff, because when you beat the Cowboys, it's about how the Cowboys suck, unless the Chargers do put the 49ers whooping on them. If they go like that, I might just go live for 24 hours and just pop champagne and just be boozed up, because the amount of Cowboy fans in my life that talk shit to me, I would just live stream it to all their phones.
Just give it to them. Yeah, I like your score prediction, Tony. I'm thinking similarly. I think the Chargers can get 30 points, though. I was going to go 31-24 instead of 27-24, but we're right in the same area. I think that the Chargers could have scored 50 in that game against the Raiders if they didn't let off the gas pedal there in the second half. Also, just some misfortunate situations, like the interception, for example, where Herbert kind of was getting hit as he threw, and then there's also questionable PI possibly down the field, ends up being an interception. That probably was going to be points on that drive, and the Chargers go over 30 points there. They're going to go over 30 points. I got some confidence. I want to see it against this good defense. But I will ask you this, Tony. They may not talk about the Chargers too much after this one, and they'll talk about the Chargers or talk about the Cowboys' loss. But they'll be talking about the Chargers. And the Chargers are on a 4-game winning streak after beating the Chiefs also.
Yeah, let's focus as Charger fans. Let's all just focus our energy one game at a time. Like, remember, we only get 17 of these.
Watching that Broncos Chiefs game had to get you excited, Tony. Like, AFC West looks like it might come over to LA this year.
Watching the Chiefs offense all season long has been pretty exciting if you're a Chargers fan, for sure. The defense is a different case, and we'll talk about that next week. As far as this game goes, it's like there are a couple of things I think that have been oddly bad. Like JK's punts haven't been as good as last year, and also like Darius Davis, there's a little bit of indecision. There was like a play last week where he just lets the ball go over his head, and then they down it inside the 5-yard line. Like those kind of things can't really happen. Like I know special teams isn't like a super sexy thing to talk about, but like those little things that are happening are the difference in major field possession. Like,
yeah,
it's so different if J.K. Scott is punting like he did last year in a couple of these games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it definitely affects the score total too. When we're talking about them not hitting that 30-point mark last time is when you have little mistakes like that. But yeah, hopefully Darius Davis learns on that kind of stuff and improves, and JK can find his mojo again. Darius Davis has been a lot of fun to watch, though. I'll tell you that much.
Oh, absolutely.
Exciting, man. He's going to play some receiver, I think, towards the end of the year, too.
He's already playing receiver, and one of the things that I would love to see Kellen Moore do is to get him and Eckler in the backfield together, like at the same time. That would be really fun. Just sort of both split outside of there, and then maybe we get something in motion. And one of the plays that I would love to see is that little like split out Eckler wide, and as he's coming back, you just want to see like what kind of coverage you're in. Let's send him out there. Now we know what it is. We motion him back, and as he's coming across, we just do that quick little flip to Eckler. Like, let's get Eckler in, like, already having speed built up, and he's just coming across, and the ball's hiked, and Eckler comes across, and we just give him a little toss, and he's just gone that way. Like, let's get that to him. Let's get it to Davis, or maybe they fake to him, handoff, end around Darius Davis around this way. Like, let's get a little magic with the speed and have an Eckler back on the field. Kellen Moore, smarter than me. I'm sure he'll figure it out.
Ben Johnson, Tony. That's the man we need. Ben Johnson will give you every single trick play you got. I think I've seen the Lions run like 6 trick plays this year already.
I like this. I like DZ throwing some love out here for Fehoko. I don't think he's going to get too many reps or snaps. I would love to see.
What if he gets a big hit on the kickoff?
So I think he was called up last week for like to be the gunner or something, right? Like I think he was called up because there was an injury to Dean Leonard, and then they had to fill the spot. Mike Williams did a receiver. Because I thought Keelan Doss was going to be the pickup. Like, I thought he was going to be the person that was brought up to the roster. I want less competition on the field for Quentin Johnston because I want him getting out there, getting the field, getting the reps. There's also like a little bit of as Chargers fans, we should be less angry about no production and just like start hoping and being excited for whatever production we do get. Because if the team is winning, he's going to get it together. He's going to become a good football player for the Chargers.
I think what it's going to come down to is building the trust with Herbert out there in game action, of course, but also his role is kind of now to fill like that Mike Williams type of role, to take the top off the defense, to stretch the football field, and they just haven't taken a bunch of shots yet. They're just trying to set these shots up down the field still.
But this is the thing that I don't understand because Palmer was a 3rd-round pick. Like, just in the last 2 weeks, the guy's caught multiple balls downfield. He had him beat in the week before. Like Bennett, like he's going to get downfield. Like Palmer's a good down the field receiver. He's not Mike Williams, but like trying to force the ball into Quentin Johnston downfield makes less sense than, hey, Keenan's going to be open. Feed 13. Feed Gerald Everett. Like,
they got to set it up. You can't force it. You're right. They got to set it up. I would like to see, call me crazy, let's see Quentin Johnston running these screens instead of Keenan Allen. How about that? That would be a fun way to get involved.
1,000%. I would rather see that, But I think we also just get to see like what it's like when you are the best athlete on your college football team and then you get to the NFL. We're seeing it with guys like Bryce Young. Bryce is trying to do shit that he was trying to get away with at Alabama. It ain't going to work in the NFL. Like, that's not going to happen. And I think that Quentin learns the speed and the pacing and everything of the offensive game, and you get 10 delivering that rock, he's going to be just fine. He's going to be good.
Yeah, and everyone in our receiving core was the best receiver on their college team. So that's a good problem to have, I guess. We'll talk to you guys next week. Bolt up. Go Chargers. Getting this W against the Cowboys this week. Extending the win streak to 3 as we ramp up for the next game, which we'll talk about next week. Anything else, Tony?
No. Who them boys?
Help us out by liking the video. No. If you guys haven't watched the whole podcast, you can rewind it right after the live ends. You can watch it from the beginning. Appreciate y'all as always. Make sure you subscribe. Turn on notifications.
I love that, Carlos. I love that prediction right there. Strip sacks.
There you go. Yeah. We didn't even talk about the max 6 sacks either. Man. I mean, that's history.
Yeah.
We'll see you guys next week.